So hi everybody and welcome back to C++ Tutorial Series for Absolute Beginners. This video 291 and we continue here with our overview again. What you have to do is just understand your code better, and how we are understanding our code better is just that we go here to the language constructs and you can categorize your code in these constructs. For example, what is that? And then you say, oh, no problem, this is just the category preprocessor. What is that? Then you say just normal, classes. And what is that? You see a semicolon, probably a statement, but then we have to specify what kind of statements, because in our last video we learned there are many different kind of statements. And in this case would be what? A declaration statement. It's a similar thing like this, but here they made here another statement, an expression statement. And in this video we want to talk especially about expression, not about the statement, but more about the expression. So we jump here back, go to the section expression, you click on this one, and then we are on this side. Here important is the first sentence. Read this, understand it, and you know what an expression is. Let's read it together. It says here, an expression is a sequence of operators and the operands that specifies a computation. So first of all, just let's make it very easy. You have just to find operators first. So let's find the operators. Okay, here's an operator table, and careful, operators are just the middle ones, not without this one, because the other ones what you see here are actually the operands. So first you find operators, and second you find operands. Okay, why is this called an operator and operands? Because the operator will do something, but the operator is all the time asking what to do and with what to do, and with what to do is all the time an operand. For example, the plus says I need two things, two operands, A and B. This other one here, careful, says, for example, this one says I need only one operand here to include this one here. Or this one says here I need on the left side just an operand. So you have to be careful where the operand is and the operator. Next thing is they look not all time the same like mathematical symbols, because these mathematical symbols here, they are probably well known, but when we go here to this section, this is more C++, what we learn, for example, for pointer access, member access, and differencing, and so on. And here it looks even a little bit more strange. For example, a function call is in the section operators, or this one here is also a very strange thing, because the comma is normally a separator, but the comma can also be an operator. This is a special thing which we have not talked. It can be used as an operator too, but in general what you have to find as a beginner to understand what an expression is, find an operator first, then analyze the operands, and then you have probably an expression. But wait, what is here now the expression? I talked about operator, I talked about this operand. What is the expression here? When we watch this one, it says here that specifies a computation. What is here the computation? Where I specified this in this simple example here, actually it's the whole thing. Only when you combine them all together, the whole thing is an expression. And when you watch them separately, they are not an expression. Again, the whole thing together, A plus B, the whole thing is an expression. But when you watch A, this is just a variable perhaps, or an object. If you watch this separate plus, this one is just an operator, it's not an expression. And if you watch this other operand, it is just another variable, perhaps an object and not an expression. But when you use now the operator to compute something, for example, it says here, I use this plus, I use the value of A, I use the value of B, and I compute it together and create a new value, then the whole thing becomes an expression. That is the thing what you have to understand. This is actually a very easy example to understand probably. It becomes a little bit more complicated when you go here in this section and in this section. But if you understand this, then you have made the first big step to identifying an expression, like I said, in your code, find an operator. For example, yeah, I have found an operator. That's the first step. And now an operator has probably on the right side or on the left side or on both sides operand. So here you have to understand now what is that and what is that. Is this an operand or not? And you can see this kind of stuff and this kind of stuff, or here we have here again an operator that looks a little bit complicated. And what you have to understand as a beginner, this thing looks complicated, yes, but in the end, this whole thing will be considered an operand in the end. What does this mean is this one will evaluate it on its own, for example, whatever happens here, and then it becomes one thing, and then it is just considered the whole thing as one operand perhaps, or this one here. The whole thing is considered then as operand. Okay, that was bad explained, but I hope you understand it. We will go there a little bit deeper later. So let's continue here a little bit, because here is one special things about these operators as well. What is this special thing? Because like I said before, most time we know this mathematical operators, but when we go here down, you can see we have here other kind of operators. Important is these are words. So normally when you see in your code, like I said, if you find an operator, then you will identify an expression, but in this case you have also be careful about these words. They are operators as well. So for example, we know the static cast, we have already talked about it. Let me click on this one, and here one more note. The operator is just the static cast word here. When I go here to the static cast page and you read the syntax careful, the static cast operator is here. The whole thing here, what comes after, is not the operator, because this one is called the conversion already. So you're doing something. And let's go here back to this expression here again. First of all, what you are doing, you find the operator. Okay, I found the operator. This is the static cast. That would be this one. The second thing, what you are doing here is find the operands. In this case, in the static cast. Okay, I found the operator. I have now here a weird looking thing, but I know the static cast has here something, and it's trying to target this one here. We learned this. So static cast is all time converting, for example, a int type to a double or other way around and something like that. So you can see this one here becomes one operand, and this one becomes perhaps the target operand in this case. Let me show you an example. I already made one. Here I have created a variable. It's just called my number, and I have assigned it a number. What is this again? Just for test? Yes, if you see a semicolon, it's a statement. What kind of statement? Declaration statement. You see, this is the kind of stuff what we learn. And now we go one step further and try to understand this line of 2. So you see here something strange. First of all, what are you seeing here? Here is an operand, right? This one we know is an assignment operator. Okay, and what is that? Actually, this one here is a declaration. Why is this a declaration here? Because I declare here a new variable, I introduce it. But now comes the interesting part. What is that here? This one here is exactly that what we are just talking. This is static cast, and here again, the static cast is an operator, and that you have to learn as well as a beginner, because this is probably a little bit strange, because operator we are used, yes, plus, minus, and all this kind. No, these other words here can be operators too. Okay, now we understand. Okay, this is an operator. Probably, like I said before, when you find an operator, it is probably an expression right? So if you find an operator, it's probably an expression, but let's see how this becomes now an expression a little bit more in detail. The operator itself, it's not an expression. I showed you this. The operator itself is just an operator. Okay, so far clear. But then the whole thing, let's check this out. Here, what is that? My number, you can see here. My number is actually just an object here, right? I created this one here. I paste it here. Interesting, it is just a variable. And then this is actually our operand 1 because it takes this one, and this operator here will do something with this one because our operator means I will do something, and this do something is this called in C++ computation. So this static cast says I will do with your number something, and what it is doing is it is trying to convert my number here, for example, in a double. I will try to convert your in a double. That is my trying. And you can see now, again, this first sentence, the whole thing is trying to compute something. And this here, the whole thing here is trying to compute something, which means it becomes an expression. Again, let's repeat this a little bit. The static cast word on its own is an operator. This one here is an operand. The static cast operator tries to use this operand here to change it to this one. So it is trying to compute something. And the whole thing here is an expression. And let's read here a little bit further with the expression and what it says. So we have understand a little bit about the first sentence. We understand the operators must be not symbols. It can be here words. We understand that when we go here to these words, they consist of operands, and it looks sometimes a little bit strange. You can see when you see this first time, oh, okay, what's going on? And here one more side note, when you read here expression, so when I ask you what is the expression here, don't get confused with this one. The whole thing is the expression, but what they mean here in expression, you read this sometimes in this documentation, they say you can put in an expression as well. So let me show you this one. Let's click here another thing. I don't know. Let's go to the size of. And then again, you can see here when you read this one. Let's start here again. What is the operand? That was just this word. This is just the operator. Oh, sorry, not the operand, the operator is just this one. Again, the size of, it takes here an operand. In this case, it is asking for a type, or in the second one, an expression. But again, the whole thing, it's an expression. Don't get confused when you see here something like expression. This means just you can pass in for this operator an expression as well. But the whole thing is an expression. This is just so that you see this, but of course I can't go here too deep. Again, you need a good C++ book where they analyze this better, explain this better, but that you get a feeling for it. So in our case, let's go here back and see this again. All right, we have understood this well. Let's go here to the second sentence, and it says here, each C++ expression is characterized by two independent properties, a type and a value category. And a type is probably what we know. A value category is that what we will try to understand in the future, which is this L value, R value, and all this kind of stuff. But let's try first to understand this a little bit more. It says here C++ expression. When we go here again to our simple example, A plus B, when you have here this X, what is the expression here again? Not the one, the whole thing, the computation, which means the end result of this one here. When we go to my example here was this declaration, assignment. This was the whole thing here. This is the static cast example. The whole thing here is an expression like this one, what we talked here, but the whole thing makes a computation, which means I get here a temporarily value, right? The C++ behind the scene will do some, oops, sorry for that one, will do something here behind the scene and evaluate this expression, and then it has, and after this one it will assign it to here. And when we go now here to, where is that, and where is my expression here, when we go here now to the type and the value category, you can see this one here will have a type, it will have a type, and it will have a value category in the end. The type is probably here clear because we are trying to make a double. So I go from int to try to make a double. So this one will have definitely a double because I'm assigning it to a double variable. So this type is clear here. And the value category, we have to talk about this one, like I said, a little bit more in the future, because the value category means here not numbers or something like that. It means more like this kind of stuff, and this kind of stuff is, again, has of course to do something with numbers, but how these numbers are treated in C++, this kind of stuff we have to understand in more future. And here again, before we go on, I think that's the first breakpoint where we make is now, and to do so, I say one more last word, which is, as a beginner, try just to find an operator, then the operands, and then you are just saying the operator, the whole thing is the expression. And again, a little bit more complicated example. Let's take here the static cast. You try to find the operator, here's static cast, the operands would be here this and this, and the whole thing is computing something which gets what? This is the last sentence here, a type and a value category. And again, the value category we'll talk in future. And we will go here a little bit more about the other examples here as well. So I hope it's a little bit clear, but again, you need a good C++ book for this, because this is more theory, and theory needs to be explained, yeah, more in a theory book, I think. But if you understand this very basics, that's enough for us. If you have any questions, like all time, write in the comments section. See you in the next video. Bye, good luck, and like all time, have fun and never give up.